Good morning, everyone. Welcome back. Hey, we want to talk about something this morning that is kind of one of those things that everyone knows about, everyone talks about, and yet at the same time, we're often ill-prepared. And here's what it's called. It's called the commission objection. If you go back to your 7 steps to the listing presentation, every time I've given this presentation and I get to step 4, and step 4 is show up, right? Step 4 is show up, and I always say this. I always say show up in mind before you show up in person. And generally, when I give this talk to a group, I get some chuckles and some laughs. And it's kind of funny that there's chuckles and laughs because it's actually a literal truth. You need to show up in mind before you show up in person. And the commission objection is probably the best illustration of this. So if you could imagine for a minute when you were back in school, or maybe you have kids, and teachers give a take-home test, right? And they say, here's your test. Go ahead, you get to take it home, and you get the test graded a few days later after turning it in, and you get a C-. Now, you had the internet available to you, you had all the information available to you, but you chose to not take advantage of that information. The commission objection is kind of like that. We know oftentimes that this is going to come up, and yet we don't prepare for it. So, wouldn't it make sense to just practice, rehearse, and know what to say, knowing that this could possibly come up? I think we'd all agree that it just makes good sense to take care of it. So, let's just kind of go through, how do you handle the commission objection? And by the way, I just get really good at knowing what to say when it comes up. Kind of like if you were to stand up and say, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, blah, blah, blah. You know that script, right? Script we learned in kindergarten. We can recite it today. So let's just make it part of us, just like we've made the Pledge of Allegiance. So let's go through a couple of ways to handle commission, right? The first part that we need to make sure that we're doing is actually, is it really an objection? Because here's a scenario sometimes. You get to the closing part of your presentation and you say, based on this information, I'm going to recommend we list your home tonight for $345,000. Based on that price, in the current market, you're going to net approximately blank dollars. Is that going to be enough to get you to Denver, right? And they say, well, what about your commission? Now, instinctively in our brain, a red flag goes up. And it says, oh my gosh, they're objecting. Really what they might only be doing here is asking this question. Is your commission included in that net? So the first step is don't make it an objection when it's not. So simply, if the question is, well, what about your commission? It may be just that, a question. Then simply say this. Well, the great news, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, is this. It's included in the net sheet I just covered. And then ask for the order. All right? So let's say, though, that it is, in fact, an objection, right? And we're going to go through a couple of ways in how sellers typically object. Now, my good friend Herschel Deerdorf up in Truckee, California, will simply say this. It's kind of the Nancy Reagan line. Just say no, right? So seller says, will you reduce your commission? Big smile on your face. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I'm really glad you brought that up, but no, I don't reduce my I don't reduce my commission. Are there any other questions? That in of itself can actually work. So don't be afraid to just say no. Now, it's important that when we overcome an objection, that we actually then go back and ask for the order. So it would look like this. Seller says, will you reduce your commission? You say, you know, Mr. Seller, I really appreciate you bringing that up. But no, I'm not an agent that reduces my commission. Are there any other questions? And they say no. And you say, great. Then let's go ahead and take care of the paperwork. We'll go ahead and get the sign up, the lockbox on, and we'll get our office through on tour. There you go. And they say, well, you know, Kris, the other agent said that they would reduce their commission. And you simply say, so let me see if I can understand this. The other agent who you met a couple of nights ago from company XYZ, they said they would reduce their commission? And they say, yes, they did. And I said, you know, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, do you mind if I share with you why that would make me just a little bit nervous? And they'll, of course, say, go right ahead. You know, if that other agent is that quick to give away their own money, how quick do you think they're going to be in giving away yours when you get an offer in on the property? And I can tell you, probably 80 to 90% of the time, here's going to be the seller's response when you say that. They're going to say this, we didn't think about that. And the minute they say that, you're going to smile and nod, because you know that's what they're going to say. And you're going to simply say, so why don't we do this? Why don't we go ahead and take care of the paperwork? We'll get the sign up, the lockbox on, and get our great officer on tour. It's as simple as that. So first is this, say no. Second is, if the other agent's that quick to give away their money, how quick do you think they're going to be in giving away yours? We'll get an offer in on your property. So that's two ways to handle it. The third way would be simply to say something along this line. You see, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, when you hire me tonight, you're not just hiring someone who's going to market and merchandise your home, but you're actually hiring a negotiator. So let me ask you a question. You're not interested in hiring a discount negotiator, are you? There's an obvious answer to that question. Would you be interested in hiring a discount negotiator? If we frame it in that context and use those words, I think most folks are at least going to think about that and come back with this answer. No, we don't want a discount negotiator. So you need to think about that in of itself. All right. Now, here's the beautiful thing. Diane Flanagan, director of our career development department, she actually gives a class on negotiation that you can actually follow through with so that you are a top-notch negotiator. That way you can look them confidently in the eye and say, you're hiring a great negotiator. And by the way, great negotiator and discount don't belong in the same sentence. Would you agree with that? So, last, here's the reality, folks, and it is called reality, and don't be afraid of it. The question to the seller would be, when this comes up, would be this. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, did the other agent that you spoke with who was willing to give away their commission, did they talk to you at all about how commission works in terms of incentive in our industry? You mean to tell me they didn't talk to you about that at all? Well, let me show you what that looks like. And you're going to simply break down the numbers. So let's say we use a commission rate of 6%, right? And we actually show them and talk to them and educate them about the cooperating brokerage incentive. And here's the reality. Now, I know there's not a lot of new homes in the marketplace right now, but the new homes right now, most of the new home builders, what are they doing with commission? Are they increasing commission or decreasing? They're increasing it. Take those flyers, show the seller the reality of the marketplace, show them that the bank-owned properties are often increasing the commission on the buying side. And then it kind of becomes this at the kitchen table. You mean to tell me an agent came into your home and told you that it was a good thing to reduce the commission, and they told you or allowed you to believe that it was okay to reduce the commission on the co-op side? They didn't talk to you about that at all? Mr. Marcel, I guess what my question would be here tonight is this. What else didn't they cover? Folks, stop them dead in your tracks. You've got a take-home assignment. You know the commission objection's coming. Let's just nail the answers when it comes up. Now, folks, you're not going to get every one, but I will tell you what, you will make more money in 2011 when you master Step 4 and Step 7. Step 4, show up in mind before you show up in person. And Step 7, overcome the objection with confidence, conviction, and passion. You work for the greatest real estate company on the planet if you haven't heard that before. You might even hear a 1906 story in one of these upcoming videos. So with that, I hope you have a great day and keep practicing your golf swing. Have a great afternoon.